What's up, YouTube? This is Bystander X79. Guys, today I'm coming to you with my last deck profile video for April 2020. And guys, today I'm going to be looking at my Crusadia deck for the current format. For this current format, I decided to go with a pure Crusadia deck, primarily because I felt it had the best flexibility going first or second, just being able to do what I need the deck to do, whether it's be able to set a board up with a powerful monster and a few negates, backing it up, or just being able to play through my opponent's board and ultimately get me that win. I felt that, given the build I have here, it has the most flexibility, and it has some pretty interesting tricks in it to respond to what's in the current meta. Alright, that being said, a lot of people aren't even on this deck for this format, and that makes it a very good underdog style deck. Can take your opponent by surprise in game one and just allow you to do some really interesting things moving forward. Alright, so I'm going to jump right into this. Okay, the Crusadia monster lineup is pretty standard. 3 of each monster. We're just going to go through the effects real fast. You want to be seeing multiple Crusadias in your hand when you start off. It just helps the deck get going. Arborea here. All Crusadia monsters have the same effect that can allow themselves to special summon 2 zones like monsters, point 2 in defense position, allowing you to get more bodies on the board, which can allow you to do a lot of different things. Arborea is also a level 3 tuner, so you can access some pretty sick level 7 synchro plays if you bring her back with some other card effects. And while she's in the graveyard, if one of your Crusadia monsters would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can banish her from your graveyard to protect the monster. So that's actually very awesome. 3 copies of Crusadia Draco. Okay. When this card is special summoned or normal summoned, you get to grab a Crusadia monster, except for itself, from your graveyard, add it back to your hand, so you're recurring some resources to help you continue your combo plays. He's just a very awesome card. Typically, you don't want to be seeing him in your open hand, you want to be searching him. But still, a good card to have. 3 copies of Leonis, excuse me. Leonis, while he's on the field, can target a face-up Crusadia Link monster, and if that Link monster attacks your opponent's defense position monster, which probably will happen a lot more often in this format, it can inflict piercing damage, which is actually pretty good. 3 copies of Crusadia Maximus. Maximus also has the ability to target a Link monster on your field, and any damage your Link monster inflicts is going to be doubled. Very awesome. And then, last but not least, we have 3 copies of Crusadia Reclusia. Reclusia also is very awesome. It has kind of like a Scrap Dragon style effect, where you target another Crusadia card in the field and one of your opponent's cards, and you destroy them both. So you can actually pop himself and one of your opponent's cards. Getting that spot removal does help out at times, so don't underestimate that effect. Alright, I am still running 1 copy of World Legacy World Crown. World Crown is just an amazing card. Easy to get out of your hand onto the field. The power boost something like Equimex, up with an extra 2,000 attack points. If your opponent has a special summon monster from the extra deck on the field and activates its effect, you have a quick effect which can tribute this card off and basically negate that effect and destroy that monster. Very good. I love the fact that you could actually get additional negates on this board, so definitely worth having in the deck. Copy of Comet Seal. Comet Seal is basically a win condition in this deck. While you have all those cards on the field and you have Kaiju counters on another card, you can basically remove 2 Kaiju counters, negate the activation of the effect, and banish the card, which is just so awesome. Definitely can win games by itself. And last but not least, 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. Ash Blossom is just such a great card, whether going first or going second. It just interrupts your opponent's plays, and you want to be able to do that regardless of what's happening. So definitely something you want to have in this deck. Alright. Moving on to the spells. 3 copies of Called by the Grave. Great going first or second. Just being able to counter your opponent's cards, shut them out using those monster effects for that turn, and until the end of the next turn as well, which is just epic. Okay, 2 copies of Crusadia Power. Power basically allows your Crusadia monsters to become untargetable by your opponent's card effects. Very cool. They can only be targeted by their own effects, so hey, protection is definitely worth it when you're trying to combo off. You got Crusadia Revival. It's a 1-of field spell in this deck. Power boosts all Crusadia monsters by 500 attack, which is actually a pretty good boost. And then you can target one of your Crusadia Link monsters, and basically it can attack all your opponent's monsters once each. It helps you win games. Alright. 2 copies of Crusadia Testament. I actually like running this card at 2, primarily because it's a quick effect spell that basically turns all your Crusadia monster effects into spell speed 4 effects. That basically means your opponent's not going to be able to respond to them. That's just epic protection right there. And then if one of your Link monsters destroys one of your opponent's monsters by battle, since it's their graveyard, you can actually draw cards equal to that monster's Link rating, which is also very good, allowing you to be able to set up for your next turn in case you can't finish your opponent off that turn. Alright. 3 copies of Kyoto Waterfront. This is the field spell you want to be running 3 of in your deck. With the way this deck can put monsters and cards into the graveyard, it's too easy to get 5 kaiju counters on this card. Take 2 counters off and you can search your kaiju Garmasil from your deck right to your hand, so that's pretty damn awesome. Keeping the counters on the field just allows you to basically fuel Garmasil's effect, allowing you to negate and banish your opponent's cards, so definitely worth having in this deck at 3. Monster Reborn. Extender can grab monsters from either player's graveyard. Pot of Arbors, very good in this deck. I'm liking it more or less at 1 right now. I've tested it at 2. I'm not really liking it. 1 seems to be more than enough, considering this deck does have a pretty good OTK potential. So just recycling your materials back into your deck and extra deck allows you to get going in case your board gets broken. Gives the deck a little bit more recoverability. 1 copy of Reinforcement of the Army. It's basically a 16th Crusadia, allowing you to access Maximus easily. Terraforming allows you to see your Waterfront or your Revival easier. And then World Legacy Secession, which is basically just another extender. For the traps, 1 copy of Crusadia Crawler. Crusadia Crawler, when it's activated, acts as a trap monster. You summon it to a zone of Link monster points to, and you're searching your deck for World Legacy World Crown, allowing you to be able to get that negate on board and going. And speaking of negates, 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence rounds up the trap in the main deck. Like I say, this card does do what it does very well, and being able to shut down your opponent's plays just helps. Alright, going into the extra deck. 2 copies of Crusadia Magus. Alright. Now all Crusadia Link monsters gain attack power equal to the monsters that it points to. So that's actually pretty good to power up the attacks. However, we're looking more or less for the secondary effect that Magus has, and basically when you summon a monster to a zone it points to, you're searching your deck for another Crusadia monster to add to your hand. I'm also running 2 copies of Crusadia Regulix. I know a lot of people just don't run 2 copies of him, just 1. I prefer to double up on the Searcher effects a little bit, just in case it gets 1 that gets negated. As long as I have another Crusadia monster in hand, I can always go into a second and potentially be able to extend my plays and continue my combo strings. When you summon a Crusadia monster to the zone of points to, you're searching your deck for a Crusadia spell or trap card to add to your hand, so always worth it. Excuse me. 1 copy of Crusadia Equimax. Equimax is actually pretty damn awesome. 2 zones that you can use to power up its attack, plus the Crusadia effects that can help double the damage it does or inflict piercing damage. Always good. If this card also has the ability to tribute off one of the Crusadia monsters it points to basically target one of your opponent's monsters and shut down the monster's effects for the turn, so it allows you to play uninterrupted mostly. So Not a bad effect. Typically, you're going to be utilizing it to swing big on your opponent's monsters during their turn. Of course, just in case Echomax isn't panned out, we do have Automax in the deck. Automax, what can I say? It's one hell of a luck monster. Your opponent cannot target any of your other cards on the field for card effects or attacks while this guy is face up, which is pretty awesome. If he battles a special summon monster, he gains the attack power of the monster he's battling during the damage calculation. And if he leaves the field, he's basically spinning a card back, or bouncing a card off the field of your opponent. Such an amazing boss monster, always worth having in this deck. And those first effects that protect your other cards definitely can come in handy. Alright, now in case Crusaders do get interrupted by something like the Bureau, you have Link Spider, which can basically help you utilize the token and allow you to continue your combo strings. So definitely something to keep in your extra deck when you're playing Crusadia. 2 Nightmares, Phoenix, and Unicorn goes at the back row and spins off any card back to the deck, so always worth it in having it in your extra deck. And of course the extra Wing Con, just in case you want to show off or something happens to your Echomax or Automax, you have Boral Sword Dragon to back you up. Just be able to OTK with this guy is just huge. Some Exceeds monsters, all rank 4s, and best while just on graveyard effects. Silent Grades are still pretty prevalent in the metagame, so definitely worth having in your extra. And just in case you want to swing big with Exceeds monsters, you have the Utopia package in there as well. Okay, for Synchros, we're running 2 level 7s. I'm running 1 copy of F.A. Dawn Dragster. It's pretty standard in most Crusadia decks because it's pretty easy to get out a level 7 Synchro. This guy can turn around and negate the activations of spells or traps or their effects, which is actually very useful. Helps stop your opponent from extending or interrupting your plays. So, definitely a guy you want to have in your deck. And last but not least, the other level 7 I have, I'm actually running 1 copy of Cyber's Quantum Dragon. Pretty interesting card, primarily because of the first few effects. As long as you control a Link monster that's on the field, your opponent cannot target your other cards for attacks or with card effects except for this one. So I just wanted you to turn around and just take a step back and think about that when you have both Automax and him on the field. Yeah. Since they don't specify particular types or other cards, your opponent pretty much is locked out from using their effects against you as well as attacking. So, yeah, you got a bit of a lock in this deck to screw with your opponent, which is another nasty surprise, if you ask me. All right, and besides that, Quantum Dragon, whenever it battles a special summon monster, it can basically bounce that card off the field and gain an additional attack. So, yeah, be able to break boards with them. Awesome card to have in this deck. Guys, that is it for my Crusadia deck profile for April 2020. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content like this on my channel, make sure to subscribe, enable notifications, especially the YouTube notifications so you don't miss any uploads. Check out the description box below. Find an invite link to my Discord server. Join a conversation. We'd love to have you. Follow me on social media, Reddit, and Twitter. And if you guys want to help support the channel, consider using my TCG Player affiliate link in good health. Alright guys, until next time, as always, peace!